So yeah, hello. I think that works. So do we have the slides on? Yep. So how many of you are tired? Please be honest. A lot. Actually, very few. And yeah, so that's me, Ankita Prakash. If you attended yesterday or today, you may have seen me running around here and there, telling you to go to that hall or scan the QR code and stuff. So yeah, that's me. I've been associated with these communities for almost 3 years now, and it's been a great journey. And I feel proud to be the one presenting all the efforts that went behind making today and yesterday, the 2-day event that we had happened. So let's get started. So I know you all are tired. It's been a long day. And we have learned so much. So I want you all to just sit back, relax. I'll just show you a few numbers. No technical terms, no hands-on workshops, no jargons, nothing. Just a few numbers, and that's it. So how was the event? Did you enjoy it? A little louder, please. This is the last event. So why is today significant? Let me share a few numbers with you. How many of you were worried about the tickets? A show of hands, please. How many of you were worried about getting the tickets? Almost everyone. How many of you got the tickets this past week? Just this week? Yesterday. There's someone who got it yesterday. Okay. So this is the reason why. We got 3946 sign-ups and 2858 registrations over the period of 41 days that the registrations were open for. Let me tell you, that's the highest for any conference in Eastern India. Not tech or cloud conference, but any conference in Eastern India. That's a pretty big achievement. So let's see how these registrations kept coming in over the period of time. This is a video. That's how the registrations grew over the 41 days. How many of you noticed that the note of the music or the sound was actually increasing as the numbers were increasing? Should I play it again for you to observe it? So if you see, as the numbers are growing, the note of the music is increasing, especially when it goes towards the later half and it becomes steeper. That, my friends, was actually the sound of your registrations. I used a technique called data sonification to actually convert the data that you are seeing on the graph right now into sound. So that's something that you can explore. Yeah. So we collected so much data over the past 41 days. For any cloud event, we always collect data. We take your registrations, we collect data. So why don't we show you what it really takes to host an event at this scale? At a scale of 4,000 registrations and 3,000 signups. But don't worry, I did not directly use your data to collect my insights, and I won't show them over here. We had so many talks talking about data privacy security, so I'm not going to be the one who comes up here and shows your registrations on the screen. So your data was anonymized. What we did was we actually removed the LinkedIn and GitHub profiles. We just added categorical variables like, did you submit the LinkedIn profile or not? Did you submit the GitHub profile or not? And we did a more elaborate process with the about section because it was text-based, and we'll talk about it a few minutes later. So who really did it? 5 organizers, 21 speakers, 32 volunteers, and 90 whole days of preparation. The first volunteers group was made on 28th May, exactly 90 days from today. We actually went beyond the others, and we are the only CCD in the country to have a dedicated website and an app. How many of you downloaded our app? Kudos to the app team for doing a great job. Check out the app, it's really, really great. And to use a more millennial metric, we think we are more important or busy when we are a part of many WhatsApp groups, right? This team ka WhatsApp group, that team ka WhatsApp group. So if I give you that metric, there were 12 WhatsApp groups that did this entire project. Now, as a community, we are always serious about representation. We want to have the best representation in all our events. So we took extra care this time to ensure that what we have today was a diverse crowd. Now, I think most of you know, especially if you are a GDG Cloud regular, that this community is a student major community. And that was even observed in the registrations. The registrations had 1 professional for every 3 student registrations. What we wanted to do was we wanted to have more of an equal representation, but we didn't really forget about the students. So we hosted a workshop yesterday. The workshop that we hosted yesterday was a student-only workshop, and we sent out 200 tickets for that. And we also hosted an online hackathon last weekend, and the top 10 teams presented their ideas yesterday during the workshop, and the winner will be announced today after my session. So as I was speaking, we have taken extra care to ensure a diverse audience today. And today, we have 2 professionals for every 3 students. Now, if you read my introduction, I am also a Women Tech Makers Ambassador for Kolkata. And as Heli or Shweta or all of these women speakers said today, we need more and more women in tech. That's also something that we optimize for. While the registrations had 1 female for every 4 males, today we have 1 female for every 3 males. I know we are still a long way from where we want to be, but this is still a big step. Now, those were some numbers that I threw at you. But what were the real odds of getting a ticket? For this conference today, we sent out 580 tickets. That's a 1 in 5 chance to get a ticket to CCD 2022. Trust me, we have done things that have worse probabilities. For context, watch Kota Factory. So which factors do you think played a role in your selection today? Tech conference, you all fill the registration form. What do you think was the most important factor? Just shout out your answers. How many vote for GitHub? Understandable, right? Tech conference, GitHub. Makes sense. So yes, GitHub was one of the major factors that decided your attendance today. What does this look like? What does this look like? The activity graph on GitHub, right? It's actually whether the first 350 applicants added their GitHub profiles or not. So as I said, I had anonymized the data. I just converted a GitHub profile wala variable into whether you had added your GitHub profile or not. So the green squares that you see represent people who did submit their GitHub profiles, the gray ones who did not. Now just looking at this graph, looking at the 350 people out here, what do you think is the ratio of the people who submitted their GitHub profiles? Give me an approximate number. 30? 40? Actually, 50.5% of the applicants did not add a GitHub profile. And I'm not even talking about active or inactive, the kind of contributions. This is just having a GitHub profile and adding it or not. So yeah, in the near future months, if you see a session from us on Git and GitHub, know that this is where it is coming from. Anyone out here who did not submit a GitHub profile and still got the ticket? Nice. I can see a few people. Let me tell you why. So 32% of the selections today did not add a GitHub profile. Any reasons why? Anyone wants to explore why we did that? Why did we select people who didn't even add a GitHub profile? Anyone wants to try? We are just talking about GitHub right now, okay? So why would we select people who did not add a GitHub profile? Not active or inactive, just did not add. Yeah, that person in the green shirt. Can someone give him the mic, please?
Maybe to make them understand why GitHub is important.
Okay, understandable. But the main reason was GitHub actually doesn't always represent your contributions. Yes, it is a very important factor, but think of someone working on proprietary code. Let's say my code is my product. I'm not going to put it on GitHub, right? And I'm a data person. At times, people like me have to work with sensitive data, which we cannot afford to put it out there. That's why, even though GitHub is a really great factor, it's not all. So what next? LinkedIn. How many of you added a LinkedIn profile? Condition. How many of you added an updated LinkedIn profile? All? Great, great. I did not really expect that higher show of hands. So in LinkedIn, 72.5% applicants submitted a LinkedIn profile, which is a really great number. And yeah, don't expect any LinkedIn workshop from us. So that's why, but even in LinkedIn, it's limited. The things that you can talk about, your contributions that you can talk about, it's limited. It's limited to the template that LinkedIn provides, right? That's why, let's come to the most important thing, which was the about. How many of you wrote proper about you sections? And by proper, I mean 250 words at least. Okay, that's a good number. Now, 72% of the applications added an about. But we couldn't really work with the about directly because most of you had added their name and their organization name. So most of the about you section started as, hey, this is Ankita Prakash and I work as an analyst at Visor. So since we had the names and the organization names beforehand, we just removed them out of the keywords or the text. Then what we did was extracted 5 keywords using the YAKE algorithm. YAKE simply stands for yet another keyword extraction. So that's what we did. And if you have some idea of the NLP, the reason why we did was to remove stop words. Words like is, am, are, a, and the, which don't really hold any meaning. And we removed the non-selections. So the next data that I'm going to present, is literally about all of us out here. And when I did that, this is what an about section looked like. So, year student, passionately curious, machine learning technologies, latest machine learning, curious and emerging. These were the 5 keywords that we extracted from one certain about. And the scores that you see there are the significant scores. The lower, the better. Now, which technologies do we have represented in the audience today? And this is not me speaking. This is an algorithm speaking. So I ran a simple k-means clustering algorithm. And look at it. The first one, cloud. Second one, web and Android. Third, DevOps. Fourth, student. And fifth is science and data. So we have almost all the technologies present today in the audience. And again, that's not me telling you, that's an algorithm telling you. Then I really wanted to understand, how does the tech community of Kolkata really behave or really work? So what I made was a network. Right now, this reminds me of the meme, what it looks in my mind, what it really looks like. I think that makes sense. So I like to call it the atomic structure of the Kolkata tech community. And if you can't find the resemblance, I'll tell you why. Because if you can see the blue dots out there, to me it looks like the electron cloud, and in the center there's a nucleus. I hope you can see some resemblance now. Otherwise, let's just remember the meme and move on. So what this is basically all the keywords connected to each other using a metric called cosine similarity. And if we focus on the nucleus or the center of this cluster, the biggest circle or point that you can see is developer, because we all are developers, machine learning developer, Android developer, web developer, full stack developer. So developer was the main thing out there. And this is how more or less the distribution looks like. But what was the main question that we are trying to answer here? Why did we have this session? Why did I work on all this data? Just to represent the numbers? Just to represent the work? No. We did collect data. Yes, we always do, even in our regular meetups. It's just that we did it on a larger scale today. So why did we share it with you? All of you today have something significant in common. All of you today have done something significant in your job, career, extracurricular, or at the very least, you all submitted the form very well. So we chose you out of all those registrations. And the common thing that binds us today, other than obviously this great venue and the amazing lunch that we had, is that we all want to learn and grow together. And we want to improve. And that's why we shared our learnings, our insights from this event with you, because you can't improve what you don't measure. And we really want to improve the local tech ecosystem of Kolkata and take it to the clouds. See what I did there? So yeah, that was all from my side. These are my social media profiles. And if you scan the QR code, it will lead you to the GitHub repository. There's no data, but there's the code using which I anonymized the data, using which I created the clusters, using which I created the network, and using which I created the animations. So yeah, that was all from my side, and handing it over to Vineet.